Hey guys, welcome back to the Project DIY channel. On today's project, we're going to install a front-facing camera on my 2020 RAV4. Let's get started. So if you guys keep up with my channel, you may know I've been making some upgrades and a few things to my 2020 RAV4. And I recently put a Decida head unit in it, Android head unit. And on the head unit it has software built in for a front-facing camera. Now you might be thinking, what do you need a front-facing camera for? Well, depending on how you park, it's awfully handy to be able to see what's in front of you and how close it is. I already do that on the back with the rear view camera, and that makes it easy to back into parking spots without backing into somebody or something. I know where I work at, a lot of people have tow hitches and they leave the hitch in the receiver, and I have backed into those things before and it's not pretty. So that also makes it easier to pull into a spot and be able to see what you're pulling into, so you don't run into somebody or something. So here is the Decida head unit that I put in here, and still working good. I've got it set up for Apple CarPlay. Now if you want to watch the video on the installation of this, then I'll put a link to it in the top right hand corner and you can go check that out. Now part of the installation of this camera is going to be running some wiring from the inside the car up into the engine compartment. And I've already got a video showing you how to do that when I ran this wire when I installed the DRL fog lights, and I'll put a link to that in the top right hand corner. So because I've already got a video showing you how to do that, I went ahead and ran this one. This is the cable for the front facing camera, and it runs through the same boot there in the back into the inside. I don't have the wires tucked up, kind of laying here in the floor right now, but it runs under the dash and across and through a space in the back here, in behind the center console and up to the head unit. Now the cable hooks to the back of the head unit, and also in the installation video for the head unit I have information about where that plugs up. There's an RCA connector labeled front camera, and that's where that plugs into. Alright, so I've got the cable ran out here. The next thing I need to do is mount the camera. So I picked up this camera from Amazon, HD car image system. I'll put a link to that in the description so you'll be able to find that. And this is the actual camera that I got. And this camera mounts with a screw right here and a nut that goes on top of the screw to tighten it down. So the camera mounts flat like that. So my plan is, there's a flat spot right down here underneath the Toyota logo. And I think that I can drill a hole up into the bottom of this, mount this camera here as far back as I can get it. Now in order to get to this space, I have to remove this cover here. It comes off fairly easy. There's a couple of these pop pins. You pop them up, pull them out, they come out pretty easy. And that's really the only thing that holds this cover in. But you also have this hood latch mechanism, and this is the lever that you hit whenever you pop your hood and you want to open it up. You have to come in here and hit this lever. So this is in the way. I can't get this off without removing this. So there's 3 10mm bolts, one there, and one underneath. Got to take those out, take the latch off, and then I can get this cover off. But before I remove this latch, I'm going to mark where it's at down here so that I can get it back in the same place it was. That way my hood's not out of adjustment. Alright guys, here's where I'm at. So, putting the camera under here was not an option. Not sure how well you can see down in there, but on the back side of my emblem is the radar sensor. And the radar sensor is one thing you do not want to mess with. If you get that screwed up, it messes up your cruise control and your pre-collision system. Don't mess with that. And what was going to happen is, if I mounted the camera right here, I would be drilling a hole up into my radar sensor, and I'm not going to do that. So the alternative to that was to modify my grill and mount it right there. Now, I don't necessarily like it right there. There's probably some things I could do to make it look better, and I'll probably do that, but that's really the only option that I had. The front end of this car is just straight up and down. Of course, you don't want it down here because it'll be pointing right at the ground, and that won't do you any good. So it has to be up about this high. So anyway, it is what it is. I'll take some black paint and paint that nut that goes on top that holds it. That'll kind of hide it some. And here's what it looks like. That's not too bad. Kind of pointed at the ground a little bit. I might do some adjustments on it. All right, now I need to get the wiring taken care of. All right, this camera requires a ground and a positive to get it to come on, and you can leave it on all the time, and not whenever the car's turned off, of course. So here's what I'm going to do. So if you watched the other video of me installing the DRLs, you'll know that this red cable here that I ran out here comes off of a fuse in the fuse box, and there's an add a fuse, and that only comes on when the key is on. So I'm going to wire the camera into this same wire, and that will only allow it to turn on when the key is on. And then I'll also ground it right here in the same place that I grounded the wiring for the daytime running lights. Alright, got all that wired in. Now I just need to put everything back together and tuck my wiring in. Guys, I got stickers. It says at ProjectDIY 2. If you'd like to have one of these and help me out, send me an email to projectdiy129@gmail.com. Leave your name and address. I'll send you one out in the mail. Heck, take 2 or 3 of them. Stick them up anywhere you can find a place. I put mine on the back of my RAV. Now here's one cool thing I like about this head unit with a front-facing camera. And this is an option you can turn on or off. If I put it in reverse, it shows my backup camera. And then as soon as I go into drive or in park, it flashes up the front-facing camera for just a few seconds. Alright guys, I appreciate you joining me on this one. If you decide to put a front-facing camera on your RAV or any other vehicle, post it down in the comments and let me know how it goes. Tell me what you think about it. Also, if you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button, and please subscribe, hit the bell icon. That bell icon lets you get a notification every time I put up a new video. And while you're doing all that, I think you should watch this video.